He said, I went there in the fall, and there wasn't that many people there. He says there was a lot of people. But he said, Don, there was 15,000 people, at least, at this show. And they were giving out DVDs. The Deception About the Recession with Alex Jones. Maybe you seen the DVD? I don't know.
I don't put a lot of credence into what Alex Jones says.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, pointing out about, you know,
I mean, I know who
Obama and so on and so forth.
There's a lot of disinformation going on.
And then also the that DVD on the freedom of fascism. They were given both those.
Aaron Russo, the guy that made that movie with Eddie Murphy, put a book out about the Federal Reserve, about the 16th Amendment. 16th Amendment was never ratified by the states. Federal Reserve Act was voted on by 6 United States congressmen, and Woodrow Wilson signed it. On December 22nd, 23rd, with almost the entire Congress went home for the holidays. Weren't even there to know it was being voted on. And they passed it with a handful of guys and crammed it down everybody's throat, which gave private lending institutions control of blank public checks. The Federal Reserve. The first 13 years of its existence, or actually the first 3 years of its existence, it inflated. Now, inflation is paper currency. Understand? With no backing. That's what inflation is. Inflation is not the increase of prices. That's the result of paper money being flooded into the market. Okay? Loans, credit. They inflated the currency 760% in the first 3 years of its existence. How much do you think it's been inflated since then to now?
Well, the inflation rates are gonna skyrocket here in the next couple of years. They have to. You can't print that much fiat money.
It's going to destroy the economy because there's nobody's working.
Right, that was my main concern.
To buy anything.
Where are we backing this money that we're supposed to be making?
Nothing. There's nothing back there.
Well, you know what the thing is about that is that the influence from all of these that's holding our debt. Like China, Europe, and so forth, India, whoever, they're going to be basically stressing their influence heavier on different parts of the country. For instance, China has a big interest in the West Coast.
They're going to be used to invade the United States. I don't know if you know that or not.
European Union has a huge interest on the original 13 colonies.
They own 34% of the debt now. China does.
Guess who built the infrastructure up?
So here's the thing. I know this thing's like
34%. If they called in their loan, we couldn't pay it.
Do you know how they're going to call in the loan? They're going to invade, take the land.
And this is
there's no way we can pay.
This is some of the things that are just going around. You see it on the internet. Of course, you can't believe everything you read on the internet, but
there's a lot of lies on the internet too.
Media plays up a lot of stuff.
Right. But this is not media. This is just people putting their stuff, their opinions out, and basically, one way China could call its debt is say, okay, United States, of course they've built up their
we want your
land. How
land
big now? 25% a year. Think we're going to war over them? I don't think so.
Well,
but anyways, here's the thing. China's going to say, hey, basically, we're going to want all the taxes from all the Pacific Coast states.
But there's no taxes. There's no taxes to get.
There's no revenue.
There's no revenue.
California,
I want the land. That's all that's left.
There you go.
Now listen.
So it's going to take it in steps. They're going to ask for this and say,
all right, you need
to take the land. $15 billion state.
So basically, the West Coast
the West Coast is where they're going to come in, brother. They're going to militarily invade the United States along with the Soviet Union, Arab countries, and Latin American Roman Catholic countries like Cuba. Okay, what is Latin America? What religion are they?
By the way,
what are the guys coming across the border? What are they? Roman Catholics. It's not about the average Catholic. It's what their allegiances do.
By the way,
their allegiance to the Pope, not to this Constitution.
The new Russian alliance. You have to watch for this because I know.
Yeah.
The new alliance with Venezuela, Chile, and Cuba are 4 Russian nuclear missile bases.
They've already got bases down there. Russia does and China.
The deal,
already there.
The private deal that was made just recently in the last few days with Obama and the letter that's now been exposed by the New York Times. The letter that was sent to the Russian the leader was that if they could get Iran to stop their nuclear program, we would allow them to go ahead and build those bases.
Yeah. Well, guess what? You need to know these
That's in your
things
own hemisphere. I mean, that's
about who he's talking.
That's striking distance.
About who he's talking about. You need to know this. You may not ever see me again, but I'm going to give you the facts, and you look them up yourself. Guess what Chavez is? Guy that headed Venezuela?
Yeah.
A Knight of Malta.
Oh.
Hear that? The Knights of Malta run the banks and the corporations. Rick Wagner, General Motors CEO, Knight of Malta, Roman Catholic.
Is that right?
Iacocca, Knight of Malta, Roman Catholic, who shipped out 60 to 80% of the manufacturing machining jobs out of Chrysler to foreign countries. A lot of it ended up in Japan. Knight of Malta. You got to understand, it's not about the average person. It's about these people that want a world government. Okay? The guys running China are 33rd degree Freemasons. The Superior General of the Jesuits is the highest Freemason in the world. You understand? How do I know? Alberto Rivera. I'll get you in contact with his wife and his son, who are alive. He was the 3rd highest Jesuit priest in the world. He wrote books about it. The highest Freemason saw it on the guy's hand in Spain. They went to a black mass in Spain. Alberto did, with the Superior General wearing a Masonic ring in his hand. Went down to kiss his ring, and bammo, there was the square and compass. It's not the average Mason, and I know you're Mason. It's not about you.
No,
Okay?
No, it's not about you.
It's not about you.
It comes from
yeah, I've been a Mason for how many years now? Ever since '78.
It comes from international leadership.
It's international. These guys that want a world government.
I know. I'm thinking about switching my. I'm down in Detroit. I'm thinking about switching over there. I haven't been to
The local level guys
The
are
local-
trying to do
local-
good things.
The local guys don't even know. Most of the Knights of Columbus don't know what it's about.
Well,
because the everyday Mason like
They don't
us
know.
and like the people that
But
work
you know
here,
now, though, see?
we're about as patriotic as you could ever.
You don't know.
It's
well, my grandfather's the Grand Chaplain, Paul Thomas,
Okay.
and even on the state level, from what I've been taught, each jurisdiction runs themselves. There's no.
That's what they tell you.
But no, Ohio cannot tell Michigan. What to
I
do.
know, but at the top,
There isn't
the
a
ones
top.
that are 33rd or 32nd degree and
Those are
above.
separate organizations.
Separate organizations. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, they call, but the people
No,
at the
they're-
top are not
They're
separate.
completely separate organizations that have no control over them.
I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm implying. I'm talking about the people above that.
Oh, I thought you were.
The Shriners that are above, they're 33rd degree and above. Okay? Gerald Ford, 33rd degree
Well, there's
Freemason.
Shriners from Michigan too, you know.
Right.
From the even
Oh,
from
yeah.
up here.
The people that are at the top above those
They're-
guys,
they're
local.
Shrine clubs
The
all
national
over the
guys.
My uncles were Shriners.
Yep. My uncle was a 32nd degree Freemason.
There's people been in my
Yep.
my family been in.
They do a lot of good work.
for 100+ years.
Exactly.
See, it's not about the
I've
average
been in
guy,
this
though.
country since
No.
1681.
It's not about the
You
average.
hear that? I want you to understand something. It's not about the average guy.
Yeah.
It's not about the local guys. They use you guys as window dressing to make themselves look
I
legitimate.
understand that, but I don't think someone can control if they're someone that keeps going in every new year. There's someone that goes in every year.
But the ones above, the ones that are being elected, that have permanent positions at national level,
International.
report directly to the Superior
There
General
are
of the
no
Jesuits in
permanent
Rome.
positions.
In the national, the Shriners at the very top
They're
are
elected
of
every
international.
Every year.
They're
There's
elected
no.
every year.
Well, it's kind of like the
Well,
UAW
I'll take
leadership.
This, you can be re-elected for more than
Yeah,
1 year.
well, you know
Right,
how
but
you
it's
know how
not
the UAW leadership are
it's not a
elected.
permanent
You can be
position.
reelected how many times?
Yeah.
Is there a term?
And they
limit
do-
on
they
it?
do it
Depending
through
on the
committee.
office, like a grand secretary or a grand treasurer, you can be elected.
And how are they
But
elected?
The high by a ballot, by a majority of the ballot, by the people that vote.
Majority
Is
ballot.
that
by-
members?
Members of the organization.
And the lodges recommend, the lodge leadership recommends specific individuals for specific high-level jobs. Let me tell you what the
You can
UAW
only
does.
nominate someone you can't.
You have to nominate.
I'll tell you what, a lot of this is one palm washing the other as far as a lot of business connections. A lot of guys are in the Masonic Lodge because of business advancement, and a lot of them are in the Knights of Columbus for business advancement. They're
I don't
wealthy.
know- I
They're
don't know if
wealthy, and their businesses prosper because of the connections they have with other businessmen who have lots of bucks.
Well, let me
Okay.
address that. I don't think a lot of Masons, especially on our level, are in it because of the business. The only reason why I'm in it is because my dad's one and my grandfather.
See,
It's tradition.
I'm not
Right,
implying that.
It's tradition.
Right.
I'm not
And-
implying that.
And it's
though.
something that, for me to be able to belong to the same organization that my grandpa's belonged to for how many ever years, it's something pride in
Right.
myself.
I understand, and it's not about that. See, you
I
understand
mean,
where I'm
I
coming
have
from.
no